Welcome to a special road trip version of vintagesf. I'm Richard Rempel, and I traveled from Winnipeg to Birch River, just north of Swan River here in Manitoba, Canada. There I was visited with some relatives, and we got to take a little excursion using something called a side-by-side or a defender. We went on trails that had been groomed for snowmobiles, and there was a little bit of moisture on these areas, so we had to plow through some puddles and some mud. Even getting stuck at one point. Fortunately, not both of us at the same time. We were able to use a winch and get each other out if we got stuck. Up at the top, we went to a cabin, had a wiener roast, and then went back down. Following that visit, we continued on a northern route to Saskatoon, Saskatchewan. Along that northern route, I saw something interesting off to the left-hand side. Here, let's take a slower look at that. A fairly big black bear. We were traveling to Saskatoon because my brother-in-law was having a 70th birthday, and it was a surprise that we were coming. After nearly giving him a heart attack, we had a great time together, and of course, I visited 2 bookstores. Probably the only real 2 bookstores, used bookstores in Saskatoon that remain vital in the SF community. The first one that I went to was Westgate Books. I'll put links to these bookstores in the description to this video if you're interested. Perhaps I'll even put the addresses there. And at Westgate Books, they are under new ownership and the store looks great. I think they're concentrating on getting quality books, as was the second store that I went to. That means the prices were overall fair, but sometimes a little bit towards the high side. But I found 2 books that I've been looking for. Keith Roberts is a UK writer that it seems like it's difficult to find his books here in North America. I've never seen Kite World before, so I picked up Keith Roberts' Kite World, and I do like this livery, the classic science fiction livery or graphic design. These are from Penguin. Whenever I see this livery, I do pick these up. I do like to collect them. So, some more good Keith Roberts to read. And another author that I collect whenever I can find his books is an American author, Thomas M. Disch. Now, Thomas M. Disch also wrote some thrillers, mainstream thrillers. There was 3 of them: The Businessman, The MD, and The Priest. A gothic romance. I've never seen this one in the wild, and it's a beautiful hardcover edition. Let me just see here. Let's see if this is a first printing. It's the first American edition, and it looks like it's a first printing from 1994. And if you're curious, here's a picture of Thomas M. Disch himself. So, as you might guess, this is going to be towards the horror side of things, but Disch is an amazing writer, and I look forward to reading it. Those are the only 2 books that I picked up from Westgate Books. There were a couple more I could have picked up, but you got to make your choices while you're traveling. The next place I went to is Peryton Books. Once again, I'll put this information into the description of this video. And at Peryton Books, I could have probably picked up 8 or 9 books. I picked up 3. A lot of restraint, right? Well, another series that I'm collecting is, these are called Tor doubles from the late 1980s. I believe there's approximately 30 of them, maybe 32. They are doubles, just like the Ace doubles used to be, except they contain novellas. Here's Poul Anderson's The Saturn Game. On long space voyages, role-playing games may save your sanity or lose your life. And you can see it's a Hugo and Nebula Award winner. And on the other side here, we have Iceborne by Gregory Benford and Paul A. Carter. Pluto was the last place anyone expected to find life. That's why it's the last place they looked. Now, I just thought I'd bring out the ones that I have of these already. As I said, they're somewhere in the 30 range. And for whatever reason, I'm finding them a little bit more difficult to find, even though they're from the 1980s. But these are the ones that I have at the present. And so I look forward to reading more of these. I have reviewed one of them with my friend Chris of Liminal Spaces. He chose one side, I chose the other side, and we made a couple of videos about it. I'll put links in the description below. I have another one that I'm going to get to Chris at Pulp Fest. Actually, 2 copies, so he can have one, I'll have one, and hopefully in fall we'll review another Tor double. One book that I've never found in the wild, but I've been looking for a long, long time, is by an author named Howard Waldrop. He's somebody that I learned about through one of my viewers, Paul Cooper from Santa Fe, New Mexico, and he's gone to many, many conventions, and he loved Howard Waldrop. I read his book, Them Bones, from the Ace Science Fiction Specials Series 3. This is a collection of his short stories, including probably his most famous short story, Night of the Cooters. More Neat Stories by Howard Waldrop. And it's a beautiful hardcover book. And there's the man himself. The result of Waldrop's bizarrely eclectic imagination and Gonzo's sense of humor is magic, according to Gardner Dozo's. Locus says the man's a national treasure. There's 9 remarkable tales into science fiction, fantasy, and just plain neat stuff by the Nebula and World Fantasy Award-winning author of Them Bones, and a dozen tough jobs, including a previously unpublished novella. This cover story here, Night of the Cooters, imagine Slim Pickens meets War of the Worlds aliens from Mars. What would happen? Very much looking forward to this. I'll probably do a review just of the story Night of the Cooters themselves. Almost forgot to mention some of the really neat stuff inside this book. Here's the short stories. One of them is the annotated Jet Boy. And on the inside, if you take the flap away, you can see Jet Boy's plane. A blueprint of it. This book is also illustrated, color illustrations. Sometimes it's black and white, but it's on this glossy paper here. And let me just take a look at who these illustrations are by. The cover illustration is by Don Punchaz. This is somebody who, if I remember correctly, was also the artist for the Foundation series from the 1960s. The frontispiece, which I showed you, was from Terry Lee, and the interior illustrations are by different artists. So, you'll just find illustrations like this within the book. There's quite a few of them. And there we go, is with the credit for Don Ivan Punchaz for the cover itself. So, very classy book here, very classy collection here with all those illustrations as well. And the last one that I picked up, I've been watching for Canadian authors. You may have noticed that on my channel, being a Canadian myself, and I've found that there's a number of them that have had some first contracts and deals, and they had hardcovers, and so I've been watching for those. One of them is Karl Schroeder, and this one is called Permanence. It was published by Tor, and I believe this is his second novel after Ventus. This was published, of course, this is a first edition, May of 2002. I haven't read anything by Karl Schroeder, but I do have a number of his books. So that was a very successful trip, not only for a great birthday party and meeting relatives, a wild ride up a snowmobile trail to a cabin, but also just because I found some cool books and really beautiful bookstores in Saskatoon. So let me know if you know anything about these books, or if you have any comments about those bookstores in Saskatoon. I'd love to hear them. Until next time, keep reading.